Okay, in lesson 13, we are matching colors. And if we were in this view, go ahead and switch back to side by side. That's what the book is showing us to do. Also, one other button I forgot to mention earlier on about the program being set up this way is shot or current frame. So if you were looking at the before and after of a specific frame, you could toggle this on and you'd see what it looked like before and then what you did afterwards. So it's a fast way to compare the two, especially if your eyes get accustomed to your changes. So you can look back and see what you actually did. Alright, so starting out, it wants us to move our reference frame to 1 minute. I'm going to type this in because I feel that this is the faster way for me to do that. So here's our reference point, and then it says set the timeline playhead to the first frame of the last clip. You can use your up and down arrows to jump quickly from the beginning and end of each clip. You can move your playhead, but just make sure you're on the very first frame of that last clip. After doing that, you want to go to your Lumetri panel, make sure your color wheel and match is open, and then if this button's not already checked, go ahead and check face detection, because what we're going to try to do is match our skin tones from this clip to this clip so they're a lot closer in comparison to what they already are. And what this is showing is a really fast way that Lumetri is going to help us out to do the comparison. So you'll then come and click apply match, and the reason we've checked face detection is so we're focusing on the skin tones and not maybe the greens and the trees or something. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply match, and it made adjustments here to match similar to what the skin tones are there. And you can always toggle this wheel on and off to see what changes it had made and if you like it. Also know that these auto buttons such as apply match will not always be 100% accurate. However, it did a lot of work for us, so it got us a lot closer to this reference clip. A lot of times the book is saying it's about 80% of the way there, and you could go in and make the last little bit of tweaks to get it further along or closer in matching. However, this here apply match button is a giant time saver, especially if you're not real familiar with color settings. So that's a nice little tool to have in your pocket. Another thing that we can be looking at is there are actually still color effects that we haven't really dove a whole lot into. So I'm going to actually switch us over to the effects panel because I think some of these are better viewed in this setting. Notice that the Lumetri color is already here because we made that adjustment to this clip. So you could go in here and it's showing all of the same tools that we had over in the Lumetri panel. So you can make adjustments here in your effects panel as well. But like I said, there are several other effects that are worth checking out. I know Lumetri has kind of come on the scene in the last handful of years, and it's really become a powerhouse with competing with some of the other color correction softwares that are out there, and it's already built into Premiere. But we can still take a look at some of these other ones. So under video effects, you have color correction area, and one of them it was talking about, and actually it's going to probably be under, let's see, image control is the first one the book has talking about, and it's talking about black and white. So we can switch back out of this mode here. We want to go to our settings here and choose composite video so we can see it a little bit better. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to do it to this here clip. We're going to drop on the black and white effect, and when I drop it here, it comes up over here and it automatically applied it for us. So that's one way to quickly apply black and white. Of course, you can do that in Lumetria with dropping your saturation, but it's just about finding what method makes you the fastest, what is the most efficient for you as far as style. Also, when you switch to black and white, you can play a lot more with your contrast. It has a lot more forgiveness because it is black and white. You don't have all the other colors that you're dealing with. Okay, the next one that we're looking at is, we're going to open the skyline back up, and it wants us to look at tint, and tint is under color correction. I'm going to click and drag it onto this one, and tint basically allows you to map what should be white and what should be black. So if I come in here and say my whites should be the sky and my blacks are going to be, we'll try this yellow. It gives your picture a whole new feel. Very stylized, and that is the tint effect. And of course you can go back and repick a whole bunch of different colors if you want. You can also reset these to what the original black and white are. But that's another way to stylize your video. The next one that the book talks about is called Leave Color, and they say it's sometimes faster than using the advanced HSL secondary section of Lumetri Color Panel. But the book that we're currently looking at is the 2020 book, and I know we're already past that. When you go to look for this effect, you're going to find it in a folder called Obsolete. And Adobe, when they have moved on to a new version and they are trying to get rid of things that are not working as effectively as other things, they end up in this folder. I think at some point they will eventually vanish on us, but because so many people get used to using specific tools, a lot of times you can find the tool still existing in the obsolete folder. But Adobe has made it very clear that they feel these tools have been replaced by something better. Another one that's in here, three-way color corrector. This used to be one of the ones I always went to, but of course I know in Lumetri there is a lot of options for that. But that used to be my old color corrector option before I was willing to pay for a color correction suite such as Magic Bullet, which also, since Lumetri has come around, kind of has made that not so much of a necessary thing. Alright, back to Leave Color. This is the one that it had. Let's go back to Jolie's Garden, and we will choose one more clip here, and we will drag Leave Color back down onto it. And this is basically telling us to leave one color, so we can come in here and pick, and maybe we choose green, and it's definitely going to leave the green. You can mess with the tolerance or amount to decolor, so you can push these up, and notice as I'm dragging it further to 100%, the greens are really what's left. Of course you do still have some weird red stuff going on with this one, but it's the same principle. To make the sky more blue or to make the grass more green, you could use this Leave Color as far as to pull one of the images out. However, I think Adobe has moved on from this one, so there's a throwback for you at this point in time. Okay, one of the other things that we have in our effects panel, as I scroll back up because the obsolete folder is giant, we have actual Lumetri presets. And you're like, why is Lumetri somewhere else? Good question. But it's also in effects, and when you open one of these up, one of the neat things about looking at them in effects, and this is one way we haven't really viewed them before, is it's showing you the picture options for 2-strip, Cinespace 100, Cinespace faded film. You can see your color palettes on the left and right side of the footage, and it's also giving you a little preview of what those presets look like. And I think that's a nice thing, because if you're unfamiliar with them, it's nice to kind of take a look at how they change your footage. So this might be something that you guys want to check out. And these drop on just like any other effect. You can drop it onto your clip, and then you can come over here to effects panel and make your adjustments. But it's a good thing for beginners, because then you can actually see how this is affecting versus clicking through each of the ones in the actual Lumetri panel. So again, it's about finding out which way works the best for you and what makes you the fastest.